here. Up, twist, down.
Like my father, I have a memory of seeing my father and my grandfather, sort of very vaguely my grandfather, but definitely my father doing Müller at home when I was a child, in his underwear, doing the technique, especially the sit-ups. For some reason, I have a very strong memory of him putting his feet under the bed and doing the sit-ups with the bed and the breathing.
Breathe in, exhale.
So the sweep of my involvement is now approaching 60 years of doing it. Not daily, not as religiously as my father, for sure. Sometimes more, sometimes less, generally several times a week.
Müller has almost a world view, and it's very moral. In some ways, his exercises are not all that different from what we see now, but he's very aggressive insofar as saying, it's your fault if you are sickly, it's your fault if you are weak, because all of this is within your power. I have narrowed it down to 15 minutes a day, and I can create you into an Iron Man.
Rotate. Down.
In 1904, my system is published, and it is a runaway, immediate success, and it takes him from obscurity in Denmark to opening a grand center where he drops his umlaut and opens the Müller Institute in London, which has as clients, the Prince of Wales and the Crown Princess of Greece. Franz Kafka was a militant practitioner of Müller. It's printed in 25 languages, 2 million times, and he is celebrated everywhere. Müller had a thing around nudity. He believed that we should go back to a Greek aesthetic. And Greek aesthetic was, savoring the body, enjoying the body, and embracing the body. And that the Victorian fear of the body was something we should move away from. And so he constantly showed off his own body, which was very nice. So part of it was provocative. In fact, he was called a pornographer at the beginning. And he did this thing where he did these stunts, like cross-country skiing in San Moritz wearing only a loincloth.
Well, I think that Mr. Müller came up with a reasonably compact set of exercises that involves most of the muscle groups and does a pretty good job in a very short time, just as he apparently claimed.
2 years ago, I gave birth, and after I gave birth, I've always danced, and I do a ton of yoga, I belong to a gym, but once you have a child, it's harder to get out of the house. And my father said, why don't you try Müller? And so I relearned Müller.
Certainly a lot of the exercises are very similar to things that I recommend every day to people with back problems as to how to limber the back and strengthen the core muscles. Those that pertain to the back and to the abdomen are very similar to standard flexion exercises, which are in every book on how to maintain the back, and which I promote on a daily basis.
In fact, it is a more compact thing to do than yoga. It takes a lot less time. And it sort of actually it gets your heart rate up much more than doing yoga does at home. And for something to do at home that's not a DVD,
Not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.